afternoon, viewers at home. I cannot believe that I've been gone for such a long time. The last time I was in your screen was probably back in 2021. The whole of 2022, I was on a break, but I'm back and I'm super excited to be back. You are watching the Intimate Conversations with Isa Favored, where we bring to you conversations about life in general, about issues that sometimes are uncomfortable to talk about, and we just have conversation. So sit back, enjoy the conversation. And as we are saying, we are back, we're coming back. I'm coming back with the first topic of the season, which is narcissism. Yes, we've had a whole lot of people talk about narcissism. You know, I feel that it's a word that is so loosely thrown around. Somebody does something, they say, he's a narcissist. Oh, she's a narcissist. So I thought, shouldn't we try and bring it closer to home and try to define it? And I'm not expecting this thing, so I try to find people who will then help us to understand these issues. And I'm with someone who's familiar to the studio. I'm with Pastor Gertrude Gininda, who is a professional nurse, but who has a passion on mental health. She has taken mental health as something that she wants to know more about, you know, and so yes, she's the person that is going to be trying to help us unpack this monster that is called narcissism. You are welcome.
Thank you, Sis Noms, woman of God. It is an honor and a privilege to find myself in your conversation space again. Thank you. I regard this a great privilege, and I appreciate. Thank you for the invite.
You're welcome. Let's talk narcissism. What is this monster? Can we help somebody at home understand what is this? Because it is a personality disorder, right?
Yes.
That much we figured.
Yes.
When we spoke, we agreed that
Yes.
it is a personality disorder.
Yes.
Okay. What is it?
All right. Narcissism, as the general population has sort of summarized it, in medical terms, mental health speaking, psychiatric health disorder classification, we have a tool that we use which is called a DSM, a diagnostic manual, from which we can determine a personality disorder. It's actually a global diagnostic manual. We are now in edition 5. That's why it's called DSM 5.
Okay.
But it started as DSM 1, 2, 3, up to 5 today. So when we say narcissism, we've actually abbreviated something that should be labeled narcissistic personality disorder.
Okay.
It's actually a mental illness. It is a disorder, well diagnosed and sometimes not curable, but treatable. And there's a certain level of recovery among the people. But since we are talking an illness, you and I know very well that you do not diagnose hypertension from a single headache.
Yes.
You do not diagnose diarrhea from a single episode. There must be a group of symptoms that are put together from this person. If we're looking at one individual, we should be looking at 4 or 3 signs that allow us then to come to the classification of a mental illness classified as personality disorder of a narcissistic type.
Okay.
Because there's several types, close to 8.
In terms when we're talking personality disorders.
Personality disorders.
And we'll call you probably again some other time so that we can look at the different types. So, and I think I remember this conversation. Once you talk about the BD, yes,
bipolar mood disorder. Yes.
You know, so you're saying there should be 3 or 4 symptoms that will then be the person will display.
Yes.
Not in one day, not over 2 days, but over a couple of times. Prolonged period.
Mental health speaking, we say sustained.
Okay.
We call the term sustained because we are saying the person is not making an alternative choice not to behave in a particular fashion.
Yes.
That behavior that they're displaying with is one that they're repeatedly showing or manifesting amongst the people that they live with, the people that they work with, in society, the people that they go to church with, and so forth. So as we said, It is an abnormality in behavior. It's called a personality disorder of a narcissistic type.
Okay.
Reason the narcissist is usually very highly self-obsessed.
Yes. You will say they think the world revolves around them.
Perfect explanation, because they have another term which we use mental health is grandiose.
Yes.
They have grandiose ideas about themselves and their importance to the world. Like they're actually the superman that we need in the world, or the superwoman, depending on the gender.
No, okay. Are they that, or they think they are that?
They are thinking they're that. There is a misconnect between the reality and the thought.
That is why it becomes a disorder.
Yes.
That is why it will become, because this is what I think of myself.
Yes.
But the people around me don't actually see that.
Definitely.
I'm the only one who sees that the whole world revolves around me.
Yes.
Okay, so that will be one of the symptoms.
Yes.
And I would want for us to come back and probably just give an example of that, probably maybe in the workplace and all that. So that will be symptom number one. Another symptom that we'll be looking at?
They are manipulative.
Okay.
They lack empathy. They are, we said, they do have a tendency to become aggressive.
Okay.
And they obsess easily. They obsess about any item that feeds into their ego.
Okay.
If they're narcissistic, based on the belief, maybe let's take the common trend, beauty. Okay. Like they're the most beautiful person in South Africa. These are the people who will actually dispute to you to say, but it doesn't matter who they choose as Miss South Africa. They haven't met me yet, but there is a lack of evidence as to, there's no
they
evidence.
Would be chosen if they were to
even
be.
if you went there, you probably wouldn't make the top 5.
Yeah.
That's why we say there's a disconnect between what the person thinks and the evidence on the ground. They are, they can sound very direct, and they don't care how whatever has been dispatched as a communication and how it sits with you.
Okay, so generally it's all about them. I want to say, because a normal human being will think, you know, you will think, before I say something to you, I'd probably pause and think, how is this thing going to land to you? It may happen that maybe in a heated argument, I may say things that it's just a once-off thing.
Yes.
But generally, I would want to pause and say, how is this going to land, so that I try to cushion that which I want to say without losing the message that I would want to send through. Whereas with them, I do not care. I'm just going to say what's on my mind. You can do whatever it is that you want to do with it.
Thank you, Sis Nomsa. I like the term that you used, in the heated moment, in the heat of a discussion, in the heat of an engagement, which is taking us back to the fact that it cannot be diagnosed based on a single incident or a single episode. All of us are likely to lose it in the traffic if somebody cuts us off in the wrong way. 90% of us, without being gender specific, we might throw a tantrum or two. But the narcissistic, it definitely doesn't want to come second at any given time in their lifespan. These are the people we might have possibly observed at the supermarket throwing a fit at the teller person because of a minor misunderstanding. You know, if you are empathetic, you come close to the teller to find out, but what has happened, says. And the teller tells you, I don't have 10 rands. Her change is supposed to be 10 rand. So I was asking her to wait a bit. Who's here to wait for whoever in this world? The world can wait for her or him. But
not the other way around.
No, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's a challenging situation when you find yourself married to such a person or working with such a person or being business partners with such a person. The one that has hurt me the most is Nomsa latest, which took me to an episode of introspection, is when I learned about how do you cope when you are raised by a narcissist.
Yes.
If the narcissist is your parent, How does life become for you?
Yes.
Yes, then I was brought into the corner to introspect for myself.
To check if you are not one. Well, the fact that you were able to pause and reflect should tell me that you're not anywhere close to that. Because, as we say, for a narcissist, they don't pause. It's all about them.
No, once the train has left the station,
It's gone.
the train is gone. Whoever is in the railway line is
Either move.
injured, and he or she is not going to stop to pick up casualties. He's going on until something maybe blocks the way. So these people have a low level of tolerance on criticism towards them,
Okay.
but they can dish it out,
Okay.
but they can't receive
They
it.
can't receive it.
Yes.
And I keep going back to say that is why it is a disorder, because a normal person, you are able to then receive feedback, whether it's positive
Or
or
negative,
negative.
yes.
But because so that you are able to, because I think a normal human being, you should be able at the end of the day to sit and reflect on your day. And say,
Definitely.
where have I, so that you can be able to self-correct where you need to self-correct. And there'll be times where probably you'll actually go back to someone that you may have wronged the previous day and say, you know what, yesterday, this is what happened, I'm sorry.
Yo.
But a narcissist will never do that.
Yeah, you've hit a very important point of self-introspection, reflecting, pausing, taking time before you address a person, even if the person is wrong.
It's wrong.
A normal
Yes.
human being would say, but I want to tell her that this is not okay. But I want words that I can say which will continue to maintain a good energy between us.
Yes.
So the narcissist doesn't care. Narcissists look for worshippers, not for friends. If they are your friend, you should check. You are still friends because you are a worshipper.
You're a worshipper.
You are feeding their ego.
Yes.
You provide the food that feeds their ego.
That keeps them going.
So you remain a friend. You remain on good terms. One simple trick which we've normally used, you and I, we've shared privately. If you are the only one greeting the person, and you say we've been friends for 4 years, but it's always you who wakes up and say, how are you,
Hi.
Chomi?
There's a problem.
How are you? How are you? Every morning you tick the register. There's a time when you must sit back and reflect and ask, but how much do I owe? I think by now I should have paid the bill. Because it's
At
only...
some point,
at
it
some-
must be settled.
At some point, this bill should be paid. I've been paying.
Paying, and there's nothing that is coming back to me in
Yes.
return.
This grandiose feeling of self-importance, being special above every person, we should be careful, Sis Nomsa, not to compare it with self-confidence.
Yes.
Because sometimes we get lost. We say, if somebody is self-confident, no, it's narcissistic. No. We allow all human beings to enjoy their unique space in the creation that God has done. We all have our unique space, and we should allow our unique gifts and our unique talents to show forth.
Yes.
The world needs them. We need a Nomsa in our generation. Therefore, we must not be the people who pull the rug under Nomsa's feet because she's shining too much,
Yes.
she's doing too much,
Yeah.
she thinks she's all that. The trick with the narcissist as a mental health disorder is the fact that the person cannot stand another person shining.
So the light must always be on them.
Definitely.
The spotlight must always be on them.
On them.
Yeah. Now, when you find yourself dating a narcissist, how do you manage, or how, yes, let me say, because I think we've already tried to define this kind of a personality, that this is what, so how does one manage then, and I'm going to talk about dating, I'll also want us to come to parenting one. So when you find yourself dating a narcissist, before you lose your mind and then you're admitted yourself in a mental institution, because they will, chances are that they're never going to be admitted because they don't agree. But you are the one that might find yourself ultimately being admitted in a mental health institution because of trying to, how do you protect yourself?
Yeah. Thank you. What a rich question. Because the person must acknowledge that I'm not the person, or the girlfriend or the boyfriend must acknowledge that I don't have the powers to change this
Yes.
person.
Yeah.
That's the first step of getting your whole self back on track. Because you lose yourself when you're dating a narcissist. Because they are fault finding, they are demeaning, they are disrespectful, they can burst your bubble at a moment's notice. You are dating, maybe was saying you are going out. Like we said earlier, once the train has left the station, it doesn't go back.
There's no
So
slowing down.
if they found that maybe they don't prefer your dress, they're not going to say, would you change? And you don't look nice, my baby. I would love something different. No, they're going to smash this
you
dress
and
to the
break
point.
you.
Yes, to the point that you feel like, let's forget the date. Let's forget the date. I'm already not in the mood to go for the date.
But then, you see, and I started with dating intentionally. At what point, because you in the early stages when you're still super hyper, you will ignore those things.
Definitely, yeah.
They are usually called red flags. But because I don't think a narcissist will change. They are just like that. They are just, and I find that, I find that women will find justification for this behavior until things have really gone so bad that then they start to realize that I'm here. So how do you, I'm just trying to say, because he will break you the first time. How does one then protect themselves from allowing themselves to go further into the relationship before they are really, really broken down?
Thank you, sis. You know what? One therapist says, remove the rose-colored glasses.
Okay.
Because you are looking at the situation from rose-colored glasses. You justify the behaviors.
Yes.
You justify the outbursts. You justify the maltreatment. And sometimes there's something in us that is also attracted to the narcissist.
Yes.
I'll give you my own personal example. I was attracted as my spec to guys who don't have a lot of friends, reserved, isolated. I was not able to identify that I'm picking up narcissists on purpose.
On purpose.
So I would stay because I'm enjoying this isolation.
Yes. So, because I think, and I always, when I sometimes share with friends, I say, is it because you also broken yourself?
Yeah.
So brokenness attracts another brokenness, and then the two, your brokenness is that you know when you find, because with narcissists you're saying they need to be worshipped, they need to be, so you are continuously feeding. I was listening to Radio 2000 the other day, and it was said, what was said was, don't feed the beast. That was the advice that Matt Lodin gave, because this woman had written in about how the husband has taken kids or so, 3 kids, suddenly believes they are not his. Now they must all go for DNA testing and all that. And she oh no, the husband believes the woman is having an affair, and so much that even he exposes, he wants to test her to check if you, as you went to work, you did not
Definitely
you
have
were not with somebody else
game somewhere.
and he does that in front of a 14-year-old.
Imagine.
In front of their boy who's 14-year-old. And so Claudine, the words that, she's like, don't feed this beast.
Thank you.
Because this is a beast.
Yes.
And the more you feed it,
it grows.
Because, and I'm listening as I read, they were reading the story, she is saying, how do I convince him that I'm not having an affair? I'm like, girl,
you are not going to win.
Oh man, no, what's wrong with you?
You are not going to win. The world belongs to them.
Yes.
They must be worshipped. And you are actually, you found favor to be my wife.
Yes.
You are actually lucky to be my friend.
You are not
We don't belong in the same
league.
class and league.
Yes.
And actually, You should do all that you need to do to maintain the relationship with me.
Because if I walk away,
You are lost for life. So I have a right. That report from the radio is their tendency to own the people close to them. I own the wife. I own the children. Their properties. That's why if they are bosses, all the employees are objects. They are not people with feelings, with ideas, with inputs. They are just objects and subjects. They are manipulative. They lack empathy. You see the lack of empathy. How do you undress your wife in front of a 14-year-old? It's lack of empathy, wearing someone else's shoes. These are the people who are able to ask a very sensitive question in the presence of other people to somebody who's very vulnerable, and they expect that person to flow with it.
And be okay.
And be okay
continue
with it.
Life afterwards.
Yeah. Why can't you find a boyfriend? Why are you struggling to find a boyfriend? You know, for me, you know me, how I think. I would find a spot of weakness as well to say, but how are you not correcting that one? Let them get frustrated as well.
And leave them.
Let them leave me in peace, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not finding a boyfriend, we are not losing weight, we are equals. We are stranded the same way.
The same way.
So they hate that. When we were talking about the survival of a person who's dating a narcissist, the therapist guide is establish your boundaries early on.
Yes.
Stop compromising from early on.
Yes.
You know, we go all out too much as women.
Yes.
I don't know about guys, but we lie a lot trying to catch a guy.
Yes.
You know, like you live your whole year, all Saturdays free, so that maybe this Saturday he will take me out. Maybe the next Saturday he will take me out. So every time he calls, he says, "Can we go out? Are you free?" Yes, I'm free. No, let one Saturday.
Don't be free.
You'll see the true colors.
Don't be free.
You'll see the true colors that Saturday. And the other guide is observe how he treats other people.
Yes.
Observe how he or she treats other people. We're not being gender stereotyping here. For example, if it's a lady, you are at a restaurant, observe how she treats other waitresses. Observe how she communicates with people at a resort. You are going out together. Just notice that what she is doing to other people now, you're also going to get it.
You're going to taste that medicine at some point.
It's going to bring you a jug full of the same.
Yeah. Okay. As a parent, you are raising a narcissist as a child. Because there's things, I believe that there's things that you will notice as a parent, but you know sometimes when something is facing you and you just you don't want, how do you, you know, when we spoke and we were preparing for this, I asked you and I said to you, do they ever recover? And there were words that you said, but I'm saying, how do you as a parent, you seeing that my child man is a narcissist, how do you make them aware?
Thank you.
Because there must also be willingness on the side of this person to actually acknowledge that I have a problem. How do you do that as a parent?
Thank you so much. Yeah, they cited the therapist. I consulted as well, that they can go for behavior modification therapy. But behavior modification is quite taxing financially because the person needs to be exposed to different scenarios where they are made to sort of become aware of their own behavior through someone else behaving in their kind of a way. Yeah. So it takes sessions and sessions. But counseling is definitely needed. Psychological counseling through a clinical psychologist or a psychotherapist, so that their empathy is developed. The big feeder for narcissist disorder is their lack of empathy. They do not understand the pain that someone else has felt or is feeling as a result of their conduct. I would also advise the early training of a child, of a child being taught no. Yeah, let them learn no on purpose. I even read of one parent who said, I had the money, but I just had to say no.
No. Yes.
Just to train my daughter to learn that the whole world doesn't revolve around them. They are not going to get everything that they want. At some stage, what they want, they must learn they are not going to get.
So, from what I'm getting, if a child is prone, I'll use prone for lack of a better word,
Yes.
to develop that kind of a personality disorder,
Yes.
how we also raise them can enhance it,
Yeah.
can make it even grow.
Yes.
Because I think we live in a generation where I always say that the generation that we are living in right now, we are so, we wanted to give our children the best.
Yes, we did.
You know? So by continuously giving them and never drawing the line where sometimes you say no, that can also feed
The narcissistic.
this kind of a personality
Yes,
disorder.
it does, ma. In fact, the causes are identified as being two causes. It's either genetic or environmental. So the genes, we know there's little we can do about genes.
Yes.
But environmental, that's where it comes to socially, social environment, where the child is raised, family, the kind of a family, the kind of a community, the
Yes.
beliefs of the community.
Yes.
We come, that's why statistically, it's more men who are found with a classic personality disorder of a narcissistic type than women. And this can be attributed to society's belief that men must always get their way. Men are kings, men must always have a say, even if sometimes they're not saying anything at all, but they must just speak.
Yes.
And the girl must keep quiet. It's more modest for a woman to be quiet than to speak up.
Yeah.
So those environments need a turnaround so that we eliminate the next generation from developing more of narcissistic personality disorders. Like we said, we stop feeding on everything. This narcissistic wants to be worshipped and praised. I don't know if you've had a person or a friend or a relative who's only able to receive praises
but never give out.
No, they don't dish out anything. They'll never say, but I like the way you look today, Sis Nomsa. No, they are worried and they get angry the day you don't tell them they look good.
They look good. So you must end up lying. You know, I remember I had a friend who was married to someone, and she was saying, if this person does something for you, you must thank them. Like saying thank you once is not enough. They'll even ask you, but I bought you guys groceries. Did you say thank you? Hi boy, is it not your responsibility to provide Gantuena? So then you say thank you. And you know, the friend was saying, hi, this person, you can actually crawl from the grate to the house saying thank you. They will still not hear you that you said thank you. So they sit and they're continuously asking you, did you say thank you? Then you realize that time, and this person, the world revolves around them.
Definitely. So we train our children from early on. You know, the simple things, is Nomsa. You have 2 or 3 children. The one who's showing signs of likely becoming narcissistic later on in life, the one who finds you watching TV, 5 other people are watching TV, they're watching a certain program, comes in, takes the remote, change the channel without consulting everybody else. Why are you watching this channel? And then doesn't find a fault with that. And in the family, how you respond to that behavior.
Yes.
If you say, maybe it was a sport, but all of you guys don't know what's going on. There's a game now, and we all
keep quiet.
We submit and we surrender as a family. No, somebody should say, but we were busy with XY.
Yes.
Can we continue to XY? Fortunately, technology has helped us.
Yes.
Now they do what? A taping. We'll record your game. You'll go back to it later.
You just showed your age. You taping. Oh, come on about taping. They don't talk taping these days.
Exposed.
But if you expose yourself.
I'm exposed.
You're so exposed right now. But yeah.
Yeah,
So
your
you-
PVR. Yeah.
So you've got, so you're saying when you notice those signs, then you've got to, from an early age, try to shape the behavior
Yes,
by
yes.
correcting the wrongs and not allowing them to just continue.
Yes, because by the time they're 16, they're used to
It's
it.
too late.
By the time they're 17, they want the grandma, the girlfriend, the classmates, everybody to know that when they speak, the world listens.
Listens. Because they've been trained at home that that's what happens.
Look how far we go. Though we see it maybe as GBV, we see it maybe as whatever crime, assault, but at the core,
Of it all.
we can find that it was actually a narcissistic exploding because they have poor coping mechanisms
Yes.
when the world doesn't align to their worship, when the world doesn't sing their worship songs. These are your people whom when a traffic officer stops them for speeding on the road, they get out, get a gun and deal with
To
the traffic.
shoot the
Who are
person
you
to stop me?
to stop me? Who are you to say you're writing me a traffic fine? Don't you know who I am? Don't you know who I am?
Yes. Yeah. And then when you find yourself with a manager who is a narcissist,
Oh, that's terrible.
how,
That's
how do
a
you
very
then-
difficult situation to deal with
Yeah.
because whatever you do will never be enough. Your work will not be acknowledged, your efforts, your ideas. The worst part is that they can literally take your ideas, go and present them somewhere as theirs, sometimes even in front of your eyes. You are in the same boardroom and they are presenting your ideas and they are selling them to the higher ups and they are saying it's their own and you are there, you can't dispute it because this person is also the one person who's never opposed.
Yeah.
Their word is final.
It's final. Yeah.
Everyone at the organization knows, even at the
The superiors.
private rooms when you are taking your private break, everyone will tell you, yes, what he did is not okay, but please don't try to oppose it. We are all going to suffer. All of us are going to suffer. There's plenty of such, especially in our generation.
And that creates an environment. So when you find yourself in that environment, and we know that probably the option to say I am resigning is not in the table, on the table, because you need the salary.
Definitely.
And the thought of saying, if I leave this job, I don't know how long it will take me. And with all these other things and the demands that life has on me, I cannot afford. How do you then help yourself cope in that situation?
Thank you. Yeah, that's very important. We'll go back to that first guideline. First, call it what it is. Don't rose color it, color tint it, and say maybe it's me. You are victimizing yourself further. The best way to overcome them without worshipping is to stick to the expected behaviors from your side. If the deadline was due 30 April, make sure you meet it by 30 April. You know that they actually have no ground to be throwing their tantrums. You've done your part, but don't worship. Don't suck up. The rest of the team can suck up because they are not able to understand that there is a disorder at play here. There's nothing that any one of us can do right in their eyes. But we know we are doing right because the organization is productive and we are reaching our targets. But we'll never get acknowledged, we'll never get accolades, we'll never get rewarded. So it's to develop more of inner resilience and inner strength. But you do need to expose yourself to counseling time and again.
Okay. Yes. Because I noticed that there's a lot of, right now, we have a lot of people crying about toxic working environment, where people feel, the thought of waking up and going to work in the morning, it's such a dread because of sometimes it's things like this.
Yes.
So when you say, then you need to expose yourself to counseling from time to time so that you can then be able to
You
help,
debrief.
to debrief.
Debrief.
Yes.
Let the balloon air come out from you. Because the narcissist needs the balloon in. They need
Yes.
constant.
Blowing and blowing and blowing and blowing.
You are so big, you are so able, you are so capable, you are excellent, you are doing more than X, and you are better than Y, and this organization cannot
Cannot do
survive
without
without
you.
you. It's a narcissist. But for you, you need a debriefing.
Yes.
And the psychologists, what I like about them, they tell you the truth. They ask you the difficult questions that you are afraid to ask yourself. Because for you to face the truth and call it what it is, you need to be able to even answer yourself. But Gertrude, are you okay?
Yes.
Are you doing right things? Are you doing things right? And then set boundaries.
Yeah.
The organization will actually observe. People will come to you and say, hey, she can throw tantrums with
Everyone,
everybody,
but not
to
through
you.
that. Through that.
You have set the boundaries. You set the boundaries in communication. You set the boundaries in delivery of
Yes.
your work.
Yes.
And in the quality of the work that you deliver.
deliver.
Let your work speak for you. Like as I was researching, there was one word that kept popping up that made me laugh so hard. That said evidence.
Yeah.
The person is narcissistic because they believe they're the greatest without evidence. You produce evidence that you are actually an asset to the organization. And they get angry to find other people commending you
Yes.
and
yes.
not them.
Because now the spotlight is not on them.
No, they can't lose the spotlight. This is the person who competes with even people who earn 5 times more than they do. It's so rife these days. Someone will go for a bigger car because they saw Sisnomsa's car.
Driving this car.
An account you cannot afford. And I pity the guys who marry narcissistic ladies.
Yes.
Because they want the biggest house with the best furniture. They
And
want the best clothes. They must beat everybody at the office.
And best schools for their kids and all those things. And at a very high expense because they cannot afford it.
Definitely. You know, we had an incident here in our province of a toxic work environment, as you were saying, where a junior shot a senior somewhere. I won't be specific. It's a sensitive matter. We don't know this viewing may reach even their own families. Immediately I read it on the internet. I said there is a narcissistic tendency either on the one who shot
the shooting, yes,
or the
one.
victim.
Yes.
Because the other one might have been dissatisfied because colleague B was favored instead of themselves. And they've got this great belief that they're doing better than everybody else. We've worked with these people.
Yeah.
They believe they write the best reports, they do the best presentations. Unfortunately, I have a weakness myself. If you do that, I'll let you. And then, sorry, I'll just be there. When you are presenting, I'll just have the challenge of containing my laughter.
Yeah.
You know, we've once contended with an English word that was incorrectly put in someone's presentation. And I offered my kind, generous correction.
Yes.
It is not spelled that
like
way.
That.
Yeah, no. English anyway is foreign. We are
It's
all not,
So
no.
because they cannot accept that I've made a mistake.
Okay,
And
then.
this is genuine feedback that will help me do better.
Yes, because I have empathy. I worry about how the whole world is going to look at you.
Yes.
Looking like a circus animal somewhere there. But then you don't take the feedback. Okay, then fine. We wait then for the day of the presentation. And we sit in the nice possible space and we observe.
How things are going to unfold.
And they cry.
And they cry.
They
Yes,
cry.
yes, they cry. When, yeah. But then, thank you. I think we have tried to unpack it in the different levels that, there could be. But I love what you said, that in any situation, I think also even in the parent or in the one who's in a relationship with a narcissistic person and all that, the debriefing is very critical.
Yes.
Because I can imagine as a parent, when you're raising a narcissist, you can never correct that child.
No.
They can never receive correction because everything, even as you try, you spoke about the issue of the remote, a simple example of a remote and simple examples, but they are not able to receive any correction because everything revolves around them. So it is important to have a safe space where you can go and debrief so that you can be able to come back and continue trying to correct also that which is wrong. Yes.
Yeah.
Any parting shots that you would want our viewers at home to then take note of as we talk about this? And I don't think it's one topic that you can finish in one day, because it's very deep. But like I said, that we will still probably touch on other personality disorders because there's a whole lot of them. But I felt it was important that we start with this one. What are your parting shots to somebody who is at home? What would you want them to take note of? One, let's pray that it reaches one who's a narcissist and they feel this topic has really touched. I think I need to self-introspect. What would you say to them? And what would you say to somebody who's find themselves in a space where they operate with a narcissist person?
Thank you, Mrs. Nomsa. One, for the narcissist, I would encourage them when they view this post and they identify certain traits about themselves, that there is hope. Don't give up. Expose yourself to qualified mental therapist, your psychologist, your psychiatrist, your mental health social worker, any healthcare practitioner who can refer you. If where you are staying, there's no one that you know close by, because it is a mental illness. It is a disorder. As we speak, some might have been married 5 or 6 times. They're not picking up why they keep losing spouses. So there is room for you, my dear listener or viewer. Please submit yourself to care. And for the one who is either dating or married or engaged or living with a narcissist, I would say don't work towards changing them. You'll exhaust yourself in the process. The narcissist is the one who must be willing to get a reformative behavioral change so that they can acknowledge their own weaknesses. For yourself, build the coping mechanism. Build your inner you. There are life coaches who will teach you better communication. Life coaches will teach you better communication, not in a sense to change them, but in a sense to navigate the terrain so that you don't end up as a GPV victim. So build you, surround yourself with enough support, friends, family, and speak up. Because, the funniest thing you can hear in counseling, as I'm a mental health care nurse, and people come for counseling, you'll never know that as old as we are, some women, when they are being punished by this narcissistic personality that they're living with, what do they call it? Pinching. They don't assault you to the face where you go to the police station. No, they pinch you somewhere around the armpits, inner thighs. You can't show anybody that somebody was pinching you seriously there. And you are living with that.
Oh, God.
Beautiful as you are, we meet with you everywhere.
And everything looks fine.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. You had to end it like that, really. And yeah. But there, viewers, you have it at home. Narcissistic personality disorder, it's a serious mental health issue that we cannot ignore. We are seeing more and more of it these days. I'm not sure because we live in a world where the social media and everything is just too exposed compared to how it was in the past. But if you do find yourself in a space where you are operating with a narcissistic person, seek help. Seek help. And I also hope that what we have shared today, we will limit calling people narcissistic who are not, because sometimes it's just a person setting boundaries. And by setting boundaries, it does not mean that I'm a narcissist. So let us just read up a little bit more. Let's do a bit of research before we diagnose people when we are not mental health professionals. I hope you've been enlightened. I hope you have been challenged to read up more. And if you are a narcissist, seek help. Help is available there. Don't die all alone, because I think the world that you live in is also a very lonely world. So don't die in that lonely world, but go out and seek help. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again next time.